Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be covering another deck from the BT-07 format, and probably one of my favorite ones of the format, the Blue Hybrids. But before we jump into that, if you like the type of content that I cover, you like Digimon TCG and updates and deck profiles and whatnot, well, then you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, and if you enjoy the video, if you could do me a favor, hit that like button. It does help spread it around the YouTube algorithm. Seeing as how you're a Digimon TCG fan, why not take a look at my Etsy shop, where I have a bunch of different playmat designs, and I am now officially selling the custom metal memory counters. So, if you're in the market for some Digimon TCG gear, link to my Etsy shop is in the description, and I'm sure I've got something there you'll like. Alright, let's jump into the video. Alright, as usual, we're going to be starting off with the babies. We'll have 4 copies of BT-1 Upamon and 1 copy of BT-06 Kiaramon. Upamon, when attacking, once per turn, if your opponent has Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, trigger draw 1. And Kiaramon, your turn, once per turn, when one of your opponent's Digivolution cards is trashed, trigger draw 1. Now, both of these cards are obviously for draw power. If you have more Kiaramon than you do Upamon, you don't need to go out of your way to buy Upamon. I understand a lot of people won't have a bunch of Upamon. I didn't have but 1 copy of Upamon because BT-1 cards are expensive and hard to come by, especially buying the booster boxes. So both cards work great. If you've got more Kiaramon than Upamon, just throw in the Kiaramon. Kiaramon does trigger just when the sources are trashed, whereas Upamon triggers as long as one of their Digimon doesn't have a source. But honestly, I feel like they both kind of pop off about just as easily, so you can do 4 Kiaramon, 1 Upa, or whatever. Moving into the level 3s, we will be running 4 copies of Strabimon, 3 copies of Syakomon, 3 copies of Madoki Betamon. I'm running 2 copies of Nemon and 3 copies of Bakumon. The Strabimon on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with hybrid in its form and or 1 blue Tamer card among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order, so Strabimon is a good searcher card. Syakomon prevents your opponents from reducing their Digivolution costs, and Madoki Betamon prevents your opponent from gaining memory except from Tamer effects, so these are kind of our limiters on the field. I like Nemon. It doesn't work with every deck, and I see a lot of people not play Nemon, but Nemon gives you a real easy recovery option when your opponent kind of takes swings at you early, especially with option card, like deleting stuff. So on play, you may play 1 Tamer with an inherited effect from your hand without paying its memory cost. So that on play effect is limited specifically to, in this deck, to Tommy, but in other decks to the BT-07 Tamers with the inheritable effects. But on all turns, once per turn, when one of your Digimon with a Tamer card and its Digivolution sources is deleted, you may play 1 Tamer card from your trash without paying its memory cost. What this means is if any of your blue hybrid Tamers, that have evolved into a hybrid Digimon, if any of them get deleted, you can recover a Tamer from the trash for free, and so you're not getting knocked back to square one. You're not having to start all over again. So I do like Nemon as a way of kind of rolling with the punches. And then, of course, Bakumon on play, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 card with hybrid or 10 warriors in its traits, and 1 Tamer card among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Bakumon is almost like a stronger Strabimon. You just can't Digivolve out of Bakumon, unfortunately. And then on your turn, once per turn, when one of your Tamers Digivolves, you gain 2 memory. So having a Bakumon on the field also helps you Digivolve into your hybrid Digimon for free. Alright, next up are our level 4s. Since this is a Tommy build, we'll be running 4 copies of Kumamon, and 4 copies of Korikakumon, and then 1 copy of the BT-4 Kendo Garurumon. So Kumamon, you may digivolve this card from your hand onto one of your blue Tamers as if it was a level 3 blue Digimon. It's a 2 cost to evolve. If you have Bakumon on the field, it's completely free. And then when digivolving, trash 1 Digivolution card from the bottom of your opponent's Digimon. From one of your opponent's Digimon. So Korikakumon, you may digivolve this card from your hand onto one of your blue Tamers as if it's a level 3 Digimon for a cost of 2, so it's reduced cost, again free if you have Bakumon. And then when digivolving, if a card with hybrid in its traits or Tommy Himi is in this card's Digivolution sources, one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards cannot attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then the Kendo Garurumon, I picked this one over the BT-07 because the BT-07, while it is a cheaper evolution, it kind of really only does well if it's digivolved on top of Koji. Since we're not running Koji, it's kind of pointless. You may digivolve this card from your hand, blah, 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 just like a Tamer, just like it was a Digimon. And then when attacking, return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand and trash all the sources. This Kendo Garurumon is great for removing your opponent's versions of Syakomon or Madoki Betamon. That way, they can't limit you. Right, for the level 5s, we're just running 4 copies of Beowulf Mod, the new BT-07 version. When one of your Digimon with Tamer card and its sources digivolves into this card in your hand, reduce the memory cost by 2. So essentially what's happening is if you digivolve, say you digivolve Tommy into Korikakumon and you got a Bakumon on the field, you just digivolve into Korikakumon for free, and then you digivolve into Beowulf Mod for 1 cost, and then you could digivolve into your level 6 from there. That's pretty much going to end your turn, but you can go from a Tamer on the field to a level 6 in 1 turn pretty easily with this deck. I really like it. And then Beowulf Mod, when attacking, you may return 1 card with hybrid in its traits from the Digimon's sources to your hand to return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon to its owner's hand. Trash all Digivolution cards of that Digimon. It's just more removal. It does go up a level higher from the Kendo, so you can trash a level 4, but honestly, unless you're really aiming to hit your opponent early to slow down their Digivolutions, you're probably going to use it to remove something annoying. You might remove their Bakumon because most people are playing hybrids. You might use it to remove a restrictor card like Madoki Betamon. And then our level 6, we're running 1 copy of azulongmon for obvious reasons. The whole structure of this deck is to, well, 1, it's a blue hybrid, so it's to take your Tamer into a level 6 as quickly as possible. But on your way there, you're looking to remove Digivolution sources in any way you can, so that when you get to your azulongmon, when digivolving, trash 1 Digivolution card from the bottom of all of your opponent's Digimon, and then you gain 1 memory for each of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards. If you set it up properly, depending on how many cards they have on the field with no sources, you could get a hefty memory back from this. You know, he could reduce them down to a 3 cost, or a 2 cost, or a 1 cost. Just depends on how wide your opponent's board is. And then on your turn, for each Digimon with no Digivolution cards your opponent has in play, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So he becomes, especially the wider the board, he becomes a really heavy swinger. And then of course, it's a hybrid deck, so we're running a bunch of Tamers. We got 4 copies of Tommy Himi, 2 copies of the 2-cost Matt Ashita, 3 copies of Sora Takanuchi and Joe Kido, and 3 copies of Davis Motomiya. So Davis is obviously our memory setter, as well as he lets you reveal top 3 cards of your deck and add a blue and a green Digimon. Of course, you won't find a green in this deck, but you get to at least add the blue Digimon to your hand. Sora and Joe, if your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards in play, you gain 2 memory, so he sets you to 3. They give you an extra 2, so now you're starting your turns with 5 memory. And there's a lot you can do with this deck in 5 memory. On your turn, when you attack with a blue Digimon, you may suspend this Tamer to trash up to 2 Digivolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. So more source trashing. That's the whole point of this deck. Matt, if your opponent has Digimon with no Digivolution cards, gain 1 memory. So the reason I'm running the 2-cost Matt is because it's cheap. Of course, you get to gain that extra memory while he's still a Tamer, but he's a cheap, easy cost to play. Just drop him for 2, and you can move on with your play. You don't usually end up wasting your entire turn just to get a Tamer on the field like you do with the 4-cost ones and even sometimes the 3-cost ones. So you could 2-cost Matt, he pulls his weight in this deck. And then of course, Tommy Hemi. You could on play trash 3 Digivolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon, and then as it's inheritable, when attacking once per turn until the end of your opponent's next turn, one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards can't attack or block. So he's good at shutting down your opponents. And then to wrap it all up for our option cards, of course we got the 1 copy we're allowed to have of Ice Wall. All of your opponent's Digimon gain when attacking lose 2 memory until the end of their next turn. And as a security effect, if it's pulled in security, you get to gain 2 memory. We're running 1 copy of Supreme Cannon. Return all of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less to your owner's hand. If you have a Digimon in play with Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, return all of them with 5000 or less instead, and then trash all the Digivolution cards of this Digimon. You're not going to get that because there's no Garurumons or Omnimons in this deck, but you do get to remove all level 3s pretty much, unless you're facing like a Rookie Rush deck with some like 5000 DP level 3s in there. You'll pretty much remove any and all level 3s, especially if you're up against another hybrid deck. You're getting rid of their restrictor cards, you're getting rid of their Bakumons, their Nemons. So this is a great card for this. We're running 3 copies of the Howling Memory Boost, for obvious reasons. Trash up to 2 Digivolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. Then one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards cannot attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then you place the card in the battle area, and on a delay effect on the subsequent turn, you can trash the card to gain 2 memory. You're seeing a theme here. It's all about Digivolution card trashing, and there are several cards in here that restrict your opponent from being able to get early hits in if they have no sources. And then, of course, 4 copies of Hammer Spark, since we can't play any more Ice Walls, and yeah, that's okay. Hammer Spark, you play it, you gain a memory, it's a free play. If it's pulled up in security, which is awesome, it's awesome to see Hammer Sparks in security, your opponent loses 2 memory. So that's fun. It's always fun to see. Alright, here's the deck kind of all laid out for you. Sorry, there were a bunch of cards that don't really fit too well. But you know, of course, Howling, you got the Ice Wall and Supreme Cannon over here. The 4 copies of Beowulf Mod, so you can see them. 3 copies of Howling Memory, 4 copies of Hammer Spark. You can pause and kind of take a screenshot of this if you need to, or just watch the video over and over again. That always works too. Alright guys, and that's it for the blue hybrid deck. I did want to give kind of like an honorable mention. There is basically the same deck, but it's a version running Hexablaumon instead of azulongmon that I think is kind of cool too. It's more of a control style than an aggressive style like azulongmon is. So maybe if that's more your speed, try Hexablaumon instead of Azulong. But if you have any questions, or you want to just reach out, or you want to see anything more about this, I'm going to post a screenshot of the deck on my Twitter. You can DM me over on Twitter or comment on the shot. And also, I post videos over on TikTok from time to time, and hopefully here pretty soon I can start doing some live stream box openings on TikTok as well. So if you aren't following me there, head over to my TikTok. Link to that, of course, you know where that's at. Anyways, thanks for watching, and as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. So, peace.